Hi, this is Pursuing the Pulse. I'm Mark McCarthy. Today, I'm here with Alex Gustafson and Kelly Szczeck. They are part of the development team here at Resolution Medical. Welcome.
Thanks.
Before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
For sure. Like you said, I'm Alex Gustafson. I lead our active implantable product development group here as the Director of Product Development.
And I'm Kelly Szczeck. I am the VP of Product Development and PMO here at Resolution, representing the development line of business.
Fantastic. Let's get started. Can you share a bit about your team's background and how it shaped your expertise in catheters and active implantables?
Yeah, Resolution, in our engineering services organization, which is development and our new product introduction, we're comprised of about 130 engineers and technicians, and a lot of our background stems from the large OEMs in the area, startup companies, and other contract manufacturers. So there's a wide breadth of medical device experience when it comes to developing new products. The benefit of some of the staff that we have here at Resolution is that for many years we were completely pure referral. And so there's a lot of deep knowledge of who Resolution is within the internal structure of who we are. So we've been able to vet people that have the skill and the culture that we're looking for to be a part of our team.
Now, with all this development that takes place, what are the biggest challenges you face in designing catheters and active implantables, and how do you overcome them?
Rarely we find it's not just technical challenges that we deal with. It is trying to balance those technical challenges against the cost, quality, and timelines on behalf of our customers. And one of the ways that we overcome that is, we're a very collaborative organization that also has deep clinical expertise. So being able to really work closely with our customers to understand where that line is of invention versus product development that can help get them to their endpoint quickly.
And one of the things that I think also helps is that we do a lot of iterative testing, both on the bench or with simulated use models, so that we can learn quickly and fail fast. So a lot of our clients take advantage of life tech so that, ahead of an animal study, for example, we can enter into the life tech suite and test a device in a clinically relevant anatomy with tons of visualization that you won't get at an animal study. So we can learn quicker and iterate the design.
With along the lines of these iterations, how do you handle challenges like miniaturization or the power efficiency of active implantables?
Yeah, that's a very common trend that we see in the industry right now is trying to put more things in a smaller package. So that really ties back to the, really helping our customers understand where are they going out and taking on risk and invention versus sticking with more known industry solutions that we can develop faster. A great example is using ball seal connectors are sort of the industry standard for making implantable connections. It has been a common trend that folks want to put these connectors in places where a smaller package is desired, and that brings on a certain amount of risk. So trying to understand how much invention we want to take on and trying to miniaturize a connector like that versus staying with a known solution in the industry that maybe isn't ideal, but will meet their clinical needs.
Now, what is your process for handling iterative feedback during the design cycle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a pretty robust product development process that we use to help manage the success of a program. And what we want to do at the beginning of the cycle is really work with our clients to understand what the success is. And so we spend that time in our first phase working through the planning. And so, like Alex mentioned, we have to balance cost, quality, and time. And every customer has a little bit of a different definition of success, and we try to flush that out in the beginning. On an engineering perspective, obviously, we want to fail fast, like I mentioned earlier, but trying to define what that success is early enough will help us align with our clients on what good enough is. And so in some of our kickoff programs more recently, we've been implementing a knowledge-based planning. So it's really asking our clients, like, what are the unknowns on the table at the time so that we know that the scope of work and the deliverables and what questions we have to answer are known right at the beginning of the program.
How do you ensure transparency and communication across all stakeholders?
Yeah, transparency is in our DNA. It's embedded within our mission statement here at Resolution. I think what sets us apart is that we thrive on that face-to-face collaboration with our clients. So we have a very open door policy, so that makes the communication and transparency come just naturally between us and our clients. Alex and I actually both come from a prior CDMO, and so I think that the experience we have here is very different than the services that I think we've applied in our previous roles, where our clients are part of the decision making, and we actually talk about how our relationship is to be an extension of our clients. They're here because they need our infrastructure and resources, and that makes a much more collaborative partnership than the traditional supplier-supplyee relationship that I think that we've experienced in the past.
Yep, and I would add that culturally we are internally, we're very collaborative. We very much encourage an environment where people can share ideas, without fear of repercussion. And the more we bring our customers along in that journey through that transparency and collaboration, the better our teams work together with those external clients as well.
You had kind of touched on the different stages and in terms of this development process. Now, how do they incorporate end user feedback into the product development here at Resolution Medical?
Yeah, that end user feedback I think is something that's very unique in the capabilities of our staff and how we're structured, where we do get very close to that clinical side of the devices that we work on, and understand those user needs, and our staff even works to collaborate with their customers or own outright the development of those design input level documents. And that's something that we really stress the importance of early on in development cycles. As engineers, it's very tempting to get into a phase where you are kind of jumping ahead to designing the device without ever having that discussion of what does the device need to do at the end of the day, really defining what success looks like. So that's something we're very comfortable with, and we really stress the importance of early on in development cycles.
And what are the trends that you're seeing in terms of the shaping the future of active implantables?
Yeah, with especially with things like the emergence of AI, closed loop stimulation being more popular, and more companies getting into that space. That comes with things like more power demand, while also wanting to stay competitive from a size perspective. So, we're very consistently trying to put more stuff into smaller packages. And as we really push the bounds of technology, we're always looking at ways to invest internally into more capability, ways that we can also really help guide our customers as they're really pushing the duration of implant life. Some of the traditional methods that we would use and submit to regulatory agencies is under more scrutiny now. So that's an area that we add a lot of value and have been through it before, and can kind of help provide recommendations to look at early versus say being surprised by a regulatory response late on in a project, because we're really pushing the bounds of the technology.
So what trends are shaping the future of active implantables?
In the active implantable space, we're seeing more AI have an impact. The BCI space has been growing, with a lot of companies trying to follow suit with what Neuralink is doing. We're seeing more companies get into closed loop stimulation. So both of those have pretty high demands in terms of the amount of computing power in the device, some of the energy demands. So we're trying to pack all of that into a very small package to stay competitive with what the current therapies on the market are. So as we get more into that BCI and closed loop space, we're doing our best to try to pack more into small packages, which also comes with some changing interpretations on the regulatory landscape, as we also go down paths of externally powered devices and rechargeables as well. That has implications on the device life perspective that we can help with, where the prior regulatory pathways that you would take in terms of justifying your device life don't quite apply anymore. So we have learned that kind of going through that process with the regulatory bodies, and now have a very solid understanding of how to design the device to fit all of those features into the small packages, and also achieve things like, long device life on your product label, reliability over time, and things like that.
So now I'll ask the same question on the flip side of this, and that is what trends are shaping the futures of complex catheters?
I think there's a few that are influencing the catheter space, but a couple that come to mind are what we're seeing in structural heart. So, TAVR being around for a long time, we're looking to solve for minimally invasive solutions to valve and valve treatment. So, we're seeing a lot of leaflet excision type devices come forward. But also with the TAVR procedure being well known, we're also seeing a shift into the other valves. So solving for transfemoral, mitral, or tricuspid valve solutions. In addition, we're also seeing a resurgence in procedures from about 20 years ago in the interventional cardiology space, where we're trying to optimize physician feedback so that we can provide more distal control for the devices, but also being considerate of what reinforcement types to choose from while we're pushing the boundaries on wall thickness and size so that we can push the boundaries on the locations in which we're trying to solve for. So getting to further or smaller destinations within the body.
Fantastic. Now, I'm sure our audience would like to know what sets Resolution Medical apart from in the medical device design industry and manufacturing space?
Yeah, one of the big challenges with being a contract manufacturer, growing to work on the type of devices that we're working on is the amount of capital that you need to do this is very intensive. From clean room space, overall manufacturing space, the actual equipment you use is a pretty large endeavor to get into. And Resolution is now to the point where we've made those investments, and there's very few other CDMOs out there with the same level of capability that we have. And then on the flip side of that, we have the benefit of being still fairly small and agile. So as we've grown throughout the years, we've maintained a lot of that agility that I'll let Kelly speak to a little more.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of DNA about continuous improvement within our engineering and leadership teams here. So as we have grown, I think we're a little over 200 people now, but we want to make sure that the communication internally and the systems are agile enough to meet our customer needs. I think if you look at the Resolution brand, we're pretty quick. We can iterate fast. We have a reputation of being able to deliver quickly. And so we have to evolve our systems internally. And I think that with that continuous improvement mindset, we've been able to mature our procedures internally to keep up.
And one final question. How can design teams best prepare to work with manufacturing partners like Resolution Medical?
Yeah, I think that we've talked about a lot of things that set us aside from our competition. So the transparency and the collaborative open door policy. But also, if you look at the experience that our team brings, we work on a portfolio of quite a few programs. Our engineers get to be exposed to two to three of those at a time. And a lot of those durations are in a 12 to 18 month period. So if you're thinking about this group of people and the experience we have more repetitions when it comes to, as an example, design verification, testing, setup, and planning, where we can provide a solution quicker, and we use a lot of lessons learned so that, our engineers can work collaboratively on, hey, we had this issue on that program, how do I make it better for next time? And so that the amount of volume that we do helps set us differently.
Well, great. Well, I want to thank you, too, for taking the time to talk about the development team here at Resolution Medical.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.